Well, today we are going to present to you Space Invaders. This is the first team, I hope, that presents this video game. And it's quite cool because, well, as you can see, it's kind of a copy from the original 1980. And actually, it's pretty cool. You can run it even on a potato because, of course, it's in a low-level programming language, which makes it to run faster. The next thing you have to take into consideration for this project is the architecture.
So first up, we're going to present the first diagram, that is an activity diagram. As you see, we put here every action that we take and every action that you can perform on the game. For example, we start choosing an enemy quantity, and then we create the board. We also create the players, and therefore we create the enemies. You can interact with the enemies shooting at them, and also the enemies shoot at you. Then we're checking constantly if you defeated all the enemies or if you lost all your lives. Any of those, you can win or you can lose. And then the program ends. We have another diagram here, that this one is the process diagram. Here we're talking about threads. So we have 5 different threads: the main thread, the player monitor, the player bullet thread, the enemy behavior, and the enemy bullet thread. So first off, when the game starts, we get a main thread. There, we make an instance of the player monitor, and the player monitor can create many instances of the bullets. Also, in the main thread, we create many enemies, and the enemies can create many bullets.
All right, and then we can, of course, give you a tour about our code. Our code has just a few functions. The first of them is actually the main, as in every other C program, which of course calls the monitor. It creates an instance of the player monitor, uh, which is going to read what are we doing in our console. In other words, it allows you to move in a horizontal way and also to shoot at the enemies. The other thing is the init board. As my partner said, the init board allows us to create the enemies, all the enemies that we want, in separate threads. And every enemy can also create a new bullet thread. All of this is going to call the draw UI, which has a refresh time of 0.05 seconds, and all of this to let us play a very, very fun game. So let's try. Let's try the demo. All right, let's try it out. How many enemies do you want? Let's say we want, I don't know, 15 enemies. The next thing is they shoot in a random way and they also move like in a vertical direction. The next thing is that once they reach the bottom of the console, they'll appear at the top once again. Of course, if they shoot you or they collide with you, you lose a life. And, well, if you kill one of them, the score also increases. This is our Space Invaders game. So, our key learnings are, for example, in my case, I learned that you have always to be very careful with freeing all the memory allocations in C, and that the race conditions are an actual problem when dealing with threats. You may actually be very careful with them. And
So in my case, I learned really how to implement threads in a low level way. For example, I tried using threads, but in a more high level language, like in Java. But now in C, it's pretty different, and it's a lot more difficult, but it's also a lot more flexible, and you can implement the things like however you want it. Not you don't have a lot of restrictions like in Java.
Well, and that's all about our project. If you have any questions, now is the time. Thank you a lot and see you later.
Thank you.